So this is an episode of Voces Divisiones One-on-Ones, and I don't know if that's the official title, but that's what I'm calling it for now. And right now on this episode, right? I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but yeah. So on this one, we have Tina Garza, aka Tina La Cochina, and we are going to get into. I mean, whatever we get into, we're just gonna chop it up for a little bit. But I want to start this off with passing it over to you, Tina, and just like give a real quick intro, who you are, what you do, what you're up to right now, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Well, I'm Tina La Cochina. I am the owner and only employee at Cochina Comedy. That's what I'm doing now. That's what I'm up to. I'm producing and managing comedy shows and open mics here in Corpus and the surrounding areas. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you were producing and managing that stuff. So real quick, I feel like it's important to get into also how we even ended up on this phone call too, because we've known each other like forever.
I love when I go through like my shoe boxes in the back of my closet and I go through like pictures, and my mom was really good about making photo albums as I was growing up, and each year, like each school year, she would get the class photo, and then she would buy my school pictures, and so she kept up like every year through school. And we met probably when we were like 4 or 5 years old, and my mom kept all the pictures, so I have them either in an album or in a shoebox of us all chavalos in Salazar Elementary, Robstown, Texas.
You have the pictures of like the
class photo, like
yeah,
all of us in class. There's like
you have proof of why they call me Bubba.
Yeah.
For real. I see those. I was like, dang.
Yeah. I was in class like in kinder, first, and I think second. I have you like in a few photos.
And that's good because like I was looking at the picture, I was like, man, my head was really that big. My face was really that big. Like, okay. And so yeah, a lot of the stuff that you're working on, like I love watching everything that you're up to, like all the time, and I have for a minute. It's always really inspiring, like seeing everything that you have going on. And I guess one of the things I've never asked you, or we've never talked about, is like how you got into comedy and stand up and doing everything that you're doing. Like, was it back in before you graduated, or was like how did you get into it?
Well, I mean, I've always loved stand-up comedy. Even when I was like a real young girl, like really young, I remember staying up and watching like TV. Why I never had cable, so on channel it was like 3610. Well, after the news, Seinfeld would come on, and in that TV show, there's always like little clip. He opens the show with him doing stand-up, and he'll do like a little joke, and then he gets into the sitcom, the show. And so I always loved it. Like I always look forward to like what was he gonna joke. It's always like a one-liner or something, But I always got into it like that. And then, well, my family is hilarious. My parents, my siblings, my nephew, all my family is hilarious. And then, I don't know, in school, I always felt like I surrounded myself with people that had a good sense of humor. Like most of my friends are freaking silly. We're just joking around all the time. And then after I had graduated high school, I think I had like this bucket list type of thing where I was like, man, I've always wanted to try stand up, and people have told me like, Tina, you're funny, you should try it, or you should do something like that. And I feel like I'm shy. I feel like I am. Nobody would ever describe me that way, I don't think. But I feel like I am shy, and I suffer from, like anxiety and public speaking and stuff like that. So, which is crazy to say, because I do stand-up comedy, and I host events and open mics, and I produce shows, and I pretty much like I'm an event planner or an event like organizer, you know what I mean, a coordinator, because it's crazy in that position. You do have to like talk to the people and stuff. And then when it came down to it, on my 29th, I was 29 and I was gonna be 30. I'm like, man, this was a bucket list, like to try stand up before my 30th birthday.
Yeah.
And some of my coworkers at the time were like, let's go, let's plan it, Dirty 30, you gotta do it. So we went to, before that, I bumped into a friend of mine who was doing it. He was actually doing stand-up comedy, and it really did inspire me. He was like, yeah, dude, just come out to an open mic. It's no big deal. You get 5 minutes, and if you suck, oh well, and if you do good, it's just 5 minutes. Like, it's whatever. And so, yeah, he actually kind of, like, did the last little push of, like, okay, just do it. So shout out to Andy Gomez, because he kind of inspired me to start trying stand-up. Or it was just an open mic at the time. And when I did it on my 30th birthday, it was like a rush like no other. I can't even describe it. And it's so addictive.
And you just went up there?
I kept going back, signing up for open mic.
Yeah, so you just like, you just went, you signed up, and then did you already have like some jokes planned? And like, how'd you go?
Yeah, I write, I have like my books that I write in and stuff, but I wouldn't say I went up there, like, I wrote down a couple of things that I wanted to joke about, because it was my birthday, so it was mostly like, birthday jokes and Robstown jokes, like, just talking about my family or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it kept going and going, and they were like, dude, you gotta get off stage. They gave me the light, they turned on the music, they were like, get this chick off the stage. It was so fun. It was so fun. But I went kind of with some jokes in mind to tell, and then I ended up roasting an audience member, and it was just so fun. Have you ever tried it?
No, the closest I ever got to, like, so I've done like spoken word stuff, and then I think karaoke one time. I was in New York, and I was like, nobody knows me in New York. I was like, that's like the safest place to do something like that. And I remember it was like, I'm gonna pick some jam, I'm gonna take like 4 shots before I get the mic, and I'm gonna pick a song that I already knew. Well, I was there, and it's me and my tío, and then I messed up by doing like the worst thing you could ever do in doing karaoke, or for me, I looked up at the screen and tried to read the lyrics like word for word at that. I was like,
yeah,
man,
I've done that in karaoke, and it messes you up because you don't even realize sometimes the words that they're singing, because I know I messed up lyrics.
Yeah, I was like, damn, I was like, I don't even know this song. I guess it's not my favorite. Like, I was like, man, I was just like, I was done. It was so, but it was cool. But after that, I respected, like, I gained this newfound respect for people who do karaoke, and but that's the closest I ever got. But as far as stand up and stuff, no, definitely, I wouldn't even know where to go about it. But like, so with you did the open mic, and then what happened after that? You just started going back, and like you just like went back again, and
yeah, because around town there's a couple of places that offer open mic comics, because usually it's musicians or poets.
Yeah.
But this pizza place downtown offered it to comics, and so it was like it was just like a weekly thing, and then it turned into, hey, there's another spot, we should all go on this day, and then there's this other spot, and so like the comedians here kind of, we all just formed like this little family, and we're in like in a group chat now. We're always telling each other about new spots where we can practice new jokes. And what happened is after a while, some friends that were already hosting, like already had like a weekly show that they were hosting. My friend Jeff was gonna move, and so he kind of like handed it off to me, where he was like, hey, you've been doing really well, you're consistent, you keep coming out, you're supportive. And I was would like for you to take over this mic. So I have, I guess, like a residence at the Exchange downtown here in Corpus. And so I host comedy shows there. The guys, the owners, they're super cool. And they let me use their upstairs to throw pretty much parties. You know, I go up there, I hire my friends, I meet new comics, you know, around town. I bring them down, I hire them and book them, and we pretty much throw parties downtown. And it's awesome because they give me the upstairs for about an hour, 2 hours, and we do our comedy thing. And then usually there's like live music, and there's a kitchen down there, so you know everybody stays to grub, and it just turned out to be a really great thing. So I have the Exchange where I host and book for comedy shows, and then what happened after that is like people ended up contacting me and trying to book me for private shows, or during the pandemic it was kind of hard. I guess you could say I kind of took a break because the only thing that was available was Zoom comedy shows. Those are brutal. There's nothing like, you know, having somebody right in front of you laughing and hearing and getting the reaction, you know, when you're telling a story. And in Zoom, you don't get that, you know. So yeah, I've just picked it back up. My friend Brandon Dolly from Kingsville, he kind of got it going again. And now that maybe about, it was like middle of last year, we started doing shows again. And so now it's just like this comedy scene kind of grew here in Corpus. Luckily, everybody's like, we treat each other like family. So, you know, we try to hey, let's make a trip. We've gone to Vegas. We've gone to the Valley. We go to San Antonio and Austin, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth. So we're traveling all over Texas and then trying to branch out to Vegas, even California. So it's exciting. It's fun.
Yeah, I love that. It's like, so I think it's really interesting how you were talking about too, how like you also have like anxiety, or you know get shy about things before you get up on stage and stuff like that. But like I think it's really interesting how I love what you do for so many reasons, and one of the main reasons too is because like, you know, you have like jokes like, about our environment and things that we see all the time, and people and places, and I think it's really important to find that like that lightheartedness or the levity, regardless of like anything, you know. And I feel like as long as we can still like laugh and find those moments, I feel like it's so important. So how do you feel like your career or comedy? How do you feel like that helps with things like anxiety, or does it help? Like, do you ever write jokes or get into a creative space when you're going, like, say if you're going through something, do you find that performing or that writing jokes helps you like process some of that stuff, or get through some of that, or like just get your mind off of it, or like how do you feel like comedy helps you in that personal way?
Definitely. I write a lot about my experiences, even though like maybe it's something that happened to, you know, a family or a friend if I'm writing about it. But I'm just one of those like I find a silver lining, and so what I end up doing is I use comedy to help me cope, you know, or deal with real life events. You know, I joke about death. I joke about, you know, failed relationships and all kinds of stuff. I guess you could say like I have like dark humor. You know, I know you caught some of my material when you came. You totally surprised me, man, when you showed up down at the Mesquite Pizza for the open mic, man. It was awesome because I was wearing your shirt and everything.
Yeah, that was great.
That was cool. But and you know, I still haven't seen. We took a picture and I don't have it. I haven't seen it.
Oh, I know. I have to get it from Javier. He actually has that in his files.
Okay, because I was like, man, I should have took one on my phone. I'm like, I didn't even.
I know. I don't have one. I didn't have one on my phone either. I think Javier has them on his phone and his camera.
We didn't take any at all. It was all on him, so we gotta get them.
Yeah, I'll get them.
But yeah, so you got to catch a couple of minutes, and so you heard me. I talk about, online dating and how it's rough out there, and then losing my dad and being raised by a single mom. I just have my material. The things I talk about is, I mean, it really is stuff that I've gone through. But then I find a little punchline, or I'll find a joke in there somewhere, or a silver lining, and so I always try to flip it. But yeah, I like to write and then go up on stage and share that. And I guess you could say it does help me like cope with what's going on. During the pandemic, especially, a lot of my friends that are in comedy, that's how we deal with stuff. And during the pandemic, to not be able to go and be around people, and it took a toll on all of us. So it feels so great to be getting back out there.
Oh, I bet. So then, how do you like, what does the life of a joke look like? Like, you go, like, say, are you always like thinking of stuff in your head, or does like something happen, or you see something that, and are you always writing stuff down? Do you have like a paper or like a little pen with you always?
I have pens and little notepads and notebooks everywhere, like in my nightstand, in my car, in my purse, everywhere. I have them, like even Post-its, like any little thing. I'll just have to like jot it down, and then sometimes it gets shelved and it never develops into anything. But sometimes when I'm like, oh yeah, let me expand on that, and so it'll keep going, or I'll add it into a joke that's already in my routine, where I can be like, I need to add this to this, because it just, for me, I'm sure everyone is different. I write, and then I'll go to an open mic and try to work it out. So if I'm talking about, the Oscars and what happened, a lot of the stuff was already put on Facebook, so it's hard to go on stage and tell jokes when it's like, oh, I saw that. I already saw that meme, or I saw that,
Mm-hmm.
So it can die too on stage. I write it down, I go on stage, and nope, it didn't get the reaction I wanted, or I don't feel like it's going to go where I want it to go, then it gets trashed. So it just depends. I like to try out my material at different locations too. I usually, we're very limited here in Corpus. We only have like 2, maybe 3 spots to do a comedy open mic. So I'm very limited into the type of audiences I'm exposed to. Mostly are family type of places, so it's hard. I cuss, I talk about sex or whatever, and it's just like I really do need to find. That's why a lot of the comedy people have been going out of town too, to go find out, what else is out there. We're real small here in Corpus, but when we go out to even just San Antonio or Austin, it's just like a new world out there in comedy, especially in Austin.
So you work out the jokes like right there in public, like so they can. That's crazy too, because I mean, public speaking, I've read that it's like one of like the top fears for people, for most people. And then not only are you like doing like a version of public speaking, but you're also willingly going up there and like not knowing what's gonna hit and what's not. And if you're taking a new joke up there, then you're like already going like, okay, well, let's just see if it works, if it doesn't. So you're open to that, like, okay, this might just fail right here in front of everybody, but we're just gonna go for it and then adjust along the way. I feel like that takes like another level of bravery. But so what keeps you going after that? Like what keeps you like, you know what? All right then, because some people will see like something like that and they'll be like, this ain't for me, or whatever. But what keeps you going back and like, all right, I'm gonna adjust it. I'm just gonna go right back, instead of just letting it be like something that just like kills your whole, your own.
It's, I guess, because I really do try to keep like positive or inspirational things around me. So if I'm not around, other people or like-minded people, yeah, it can discourage me to go again or try again or work it out. But I don't know, there's just something inside of me where I'm just like, no, I'm going to change it. Or if it is something that I feel like, no, I shouldn't have gone there and I'm not going to do that one again. Like I have some like religious ones, I have some political jokes, and some of them, I just feeling the audience. Like some of them, I do have to hold back and like, because the whole point is I'm just trying to have a good time, and I want everybody else to have a good time. That's the whole point. It's entertainment, and even though sometimes it may seem like, oh, I'm using this as a coping or it's therapeutic for me, and that's more for like the open mics, to work it out or maybe get something off my chest, and or even just vent. I go up there and I vent about somebody that was at HEB or something, but for the most part, I like to use the open mics to recruit, because I am a booker. So I go out there and I like to see who's out there. I love to support local. So when I see, people going up there and trying it out, and then I come back the next week and they're doing better and better, and we just start forming these things, and it's so crazy how you can connect to someone, and it does not matter who you are. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter what you look like. Like my comedy crew, we're all just so different, but because we have this thing in common, this comedy, we get together and it's crazy. It's like magic happens. We all vibe off each other, we feed off each other, and it's really cool to be around other people that are like that too, because they kind of like push me out. Sometimes I get lazy and I'll go a few days or even a couple weeks without going to a mic, and they'll check in on me like, hey, come out, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's really like supportive. I love my crew.
No, that's really, really cool. I remember, I was seeing, I saw a couple of them up there when I went to go visit, and it was really cool seeing everybody. And I remember thinking how cool everybody seemed with each other, and I think that's really important. Like what you were saying, it's like seeing everybody else there in that same mindset, like, and you see everybody like going up and working through jokes and then talking about it afterwards. I'm sure, and just being surrounded by those by like-minded people, I think is really important, and people who also don't give up and who also go up whether or not they feel it or not, or whatever. I think that's really important, because who you surround yourself with, it can determine a lot of things. Like it's so hard to like keep that drive by yourself, so that's really cool that you have that. Now when you're looking, so you say you book and manage and promote, so how do you go about, you said you go to open mics and you keep an eye on people, or like that, just like keep track, like start building like relationships with other comics and stuff, and then what about like promo, and how did you get into that side, like the promo, the booking, and the like the management side?
Well, when I started booking for the Exchange downtown, that kind of comes in hand, because you got to plan for the next one and plan for the next one. And in order for me to be consistent and to get people to be like, oh yeah, that's the spot where Tina is, and there's comedy there, because the venue where I'm at, it's known for music, and they have a kitchen. So if anything, people go to grub and jam out, you know what I mean? So I have to like be consistent and go out, meet people, and I'm lucky because this corporate crew that I'm with, they are the social butterflies. I'm the shy one. So, like my friend Anna, she'll go to the valley and she'll go and be like, hey, I met so-and-so and they killed it down there. Let's bring them up. So I get a lot of referrals too from my comedy friends that meet other people. We went to Vegas and we were able to even meet people up there. And it's kind of cool because we get to see each other, do open mic, we see each other's material, and then we're like, okay, you know what? I feel like you would be a really good asset to this show, or like you and this person do a show together, because that would be a great show, So it's cool that I surround like the people that I'm with. Some of them are not even comedians, they're entertainers, or they're musicians or whatever. But to be around those type of people, it's crazy, because we really start to get a thing going, because I like to incorporate music in my open mics too. Like I'll do a mix open mic, so I'll invite poets and people that can come and jam out. I have one coming this Wednesday, and so it's kind of like I just want to invite everybody, local supporting local.
Yeah, and do you see it like? Do you have like certain day? Like, do you have like when it comes to promo and everything else? Do you have like a schedule that you set like your promo stuff to, or are you kind of just, is it more like organic?
I have to be. It's so imperative to stay on top of it. Like I keep a calendar, I keep alarms, and then I try to keep a schedule where, okay, Mondays are for this days. And then, well, we only have open mics like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. So on those 3 nights, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights, that's when I go out and I meet up with the comics. If we're not doing like a workshop, you know, at somebody's house where we're all working on our material, then we hit up an open mic and, you know, try to find like who else is looking for a comedy show. We give out business cards. We do private events, you know, like just the other day I did a birthday party. This guy turned 50 years old and wanted me and some friends to go and tell some jokes to him and his friends, you know, like, so it's just like mingling. I get off stage and people will come up to me after the show. I'm like, man, I'm doing a bachelorette party, or hey, I'm doing a, you know, gender reveal, whatever.
Yeah.
Some sort of entertainment. And because I am a booker and I've been trying to, you know, connect with all the other entertainers here in Corpus, sometimes we will incorporate music with our shows, you know. So I'll manage a show where I'll have comedians and musicians or whatever, and we try to just book like that.
So it's all creative. Like even the way that you put everything together is creative. It's like,
yeah.
I remember last time I was down there, you were doing like it was a promo, I think, for the, what was it, salon maybe? I'm trying to think.
Oh yeah.
It was something.
So for that salon.
Yeah, and then you were saying something about they wanted you to do like a stand-up thing too, and then you also had this idea like that you wanted to like kind of go off of like the people that were there, and like I was like, oh, that's so creative, like just it's so out of the box, which I think is really cool. And it's important when you're doing stuff like booking things and booking events and stuff, like just trying to keep it different, you know?
Yeah, that was a fun one. That was a Christmas one. This guy, he went to the comedy show, and met me after the show, and he says, "Hey, you know, I'm a salon owner, Francisco's, and we just did like a rebranding. It was already kind of towards like last year when the pandemic started loosening up and stuff, and so he was like, and we rebranded, and I want to let everybody know that the salon is reopened, because I think he also had a fire, and he's like, I want you to come and throw a comedy show. And I'm like, a salon and a comedy show? How about we work something else out? So we ended up doing kind of like an open house, open mic, where people can come in and shop and book appointments or, you know, things like that. And then we were having an open mic where there was entertainment in the background. So it ended up being really cool and successful. We ended up, it was awesome. It was like on Christmas Eve. And so we got some shoppers to go in. He got his name out there that he's reopened. And it's really cool. So it's things like that. Like I'm flexible, you know, if I don't feel like it's going to be a good idea for your company or your business or whatever you're trying to do. Lately, I've been working with a lot of dispensaries. So these head shops, they've been, you know, welcoming me, and we do these parties welcoming people like, hey, you can come in, you know, don't be afraid to come in and ask about CBD or the Delta 8 or whatever, because there's other remedies that people can do. And so I try to like, okay, we'll brainstorm. How can I get people to come in to a dispensary, you know, because some people are scared, you know, they don't know. But if I kind of break the ice and hold a kind of like an event, and if they say, oh, it's an open mic, or oh, there's going to be comedy, that kind of gives them a reason, like, all right, I'll go check it out. So that's how I've been helping local businesses in the area. You know, we meet, we try to, all right, what do we do? So I'm just kind of like a party planner. Like, how do we get people to come to your business and let them know that you're open?
Oh, that's so good. And that's such a unique approach too, because I mean, you could people can post, right? You could pose, you could just whatever, but doing it in a way like that's through comedy, and even through just like you and your voice already as is. I remember seeing, I don't remember what it was, someplace, I think you were working at or something, and you were posting on their page, and even just you on the camera, just like promoting whatever they had going on, was like already exciting. Just you as,
thanks.
Yeah, you in general. Hey, but I think you had a really good point when you said break the ice. I feel like that's like what you do with comedy in general, like everything, like even how you were talking about like what we're going through, like in the world, or things you want to get off your chest, and anything like it's breaking the ice, right? Or things that people don't want to talk about, or people don't, they're not ready to, or don't know if to laugh, or when to laugh, or when it's okay to laugh. But you like break the ice with that, and I feel like that's such important work because everybody's like really like needs that, you know, even if they don't know they need it. I mean, it comes at the perfect time. So then, like, as far as like right now, what's next? What do you have coming up? I know you said Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays are possible open mics, but like, what else do you have like coming up in the schedule? Performances, any kind of shows?
Oh yeah, man. I stay busy with sometimes they're private gigs, but like the comedy shows weekly. Me and my friends usually have stuff going on. So like this Wednesday is 420. So in Robstown, I'm actually hosting um, a party there, and it's a dispensary called Panacea, and they have all kinds of goodies and remedies and all kinds of stuff that they have there. And they asked me to come in, and I've already done a couple of shows there with Mario Salazar. He's booked me to perform there. And when I went to perform, I met the owners, and I'm like, man, this is my hometown, man. And he's like, yeah, you got to come do more shows. So I ended up booking for this Wednesday. So we're gonna have a big old 420 celebration with infused food and drinks and edibles and gummies and all kinds of products, um, joint rolling contests, all kinds of it's going to be fun. I'm all excited.
A joint roller coaster. I know like homeboys who would have like lost that easily back in the day.
Cool. The ones that are still in Robstown, send them over, man. I need people to sign up. So anybody that you know, tell them to come through. It's a safe environment. Everything there. It's more like a safe space. Like some people, especially ones that are like in recovery, or they're a lot of places. It's like a bar. Alcohol is going to be offered, and if they're trying to stay away from that, or if they're going through something else and they just need somewhere, like people go to coffee shops or a bar or something. Well, this is an alternative to that. This space where we're having the the 420 party, it's kind of like there's going to be space to like chill. We're going to have food trucks. There's going to be games. There's going to be areas like tables where people can like do art if they wanted to. We're going to have paint and markers and all kinds of stuff there so it's kind of like a safe space for people to chill and learn and heal with alternative, I'm not going to say medicine, but alternative remedies that they could use if they're going through something, or if they're for pain. I started using this ointment, this like cream, and it has CBD, and it helps me like for my cramps, and just like things that I'm like, man, I really don't want to take pills, or I don't want to take whatever. I want to try something else to help me with this. So they offer different things like that, and I like to try stuff that's natural, with natural ingredients. So it's going to be a really good festival. We started it this past Friday, which was awesome. We had like 20 comics doing 4 minutes and 20 seconds of jokes each. And then Saturday, we had 4 comics doing 20 minutes of comedy. I was one of them. And then now Wednesday is more like an open mic, an open house, like where people can come in, and we're going to have a 420 smoke sesh. There's going to be like demonstrations, like dab demonstrations, and it's going to be cool.
Man, that sounds like a really good. And it sounds like such a like perfect combination too. With like what you're doing. It's like, man, that sounds really nice. Like I wish I was down there to go check it out. But
you got time. It's not till Wednesday. We're gonna do a wake and bake at 10 a.m. Come through.
Yeah, today come through. Hey, and I love that there's like the food trucks and the art, and it's like a whole situation. That sounds really cool. Yeah. And that's gonna be right there at the
Panacea dispensary, yep, in Robstown.
Oh, perfect. So then, so yeah, it sounds like things are like moving, like, and it sounds like y'all are expanding. You're venturing out into like different like avenues to share like the comedy and your friends, and like going out of town, and I'm really excited to keep up with what you got going on and what you got coming up, and and where it goes. And so one of my biggest things, like one of the things I want to ask is like, I feel like I've said like a lot for one, like I just said it, and I'm not gonna catch it until afterward. But check it out. So, what would you say? What would you say to somebody? Let's say somebody who is like on that like fence of whether or not they want to step out of their comfort zone, like that, like the first time that you were about to do an open mic and they have something like that, like say it is open mic or say it is they want to get up on stage and do try stand up. They're like somebody that who's on the verge of like stepping out of their comfort zone, trying something new. What would you say to somebody like that, like somebody that's right there on that edge and
Well,
kind of has doubt?
because I host open mic, I've popped some cherries. There's some people that I've been like, "You want to try it? You want to do it? Come on, let's go."
That's perfect.
And they do it, and I try to make it at ease because I know when I first did it, I was sweating. My mustache was sweaty. But it was like, it was so fun. Like in the moment, you don't even think, you don't even care. Like you're just, and so when I witness people do it for the first time, it's so nice because I can see all the things, like I see them pacing or the microphone is like away from their mouth. So they're talking louder. So people can hear it's just all the things that, you don't realize, they're so green, they're so new. And what I do is I just like, it's easy. Just go up there. You get 5 minutes, For me, I think it's like more of like a storytelling. I have some friends that are really great, like one-liners. They'll tell you something and then boom, there's the funny. And then they'll tell you something else, And then I have some friends that really tell a really good story. And you're waiting for the punchline, right? But the whole story is funny, the way they present it or the way they act it out. So I always try to encourage every person, like, if you want to try it, just you got to go up there and be yourself. Like, don't overthink it. I know I still go up there with a piece of paper just because, it's like my little, like a security blanket, like a little comfort thing for me. But for, when people try it for the first time, I'm like, take it with you. Take your paper. You can look at it. It's not a big deal. It's open mic. Try it. I try to make it seem like it's not that big of a deal, but it really is. When you're up there and you see everybody looking back at you, that's when it hits you like, oh my God, okay, say something. And you're right. That's one of Jerry Seinfeld's jokes. Like, one of the number one fear is public speaking. Number 2 is death. Mm-hmm. So you'd rather be the one in the coffin than the person giving the eulogy. So it's so crazy, that is our number one fear. But once you do it and you get it out of your system, it really is like undescribable.
Yeah, I always think like it's there's also this thing like pretend that you are someone who knows what they're doing. Like pretend, and that might not work. Like because especially if you're trying to like land jokes and stuff, it's different. Of course, people can tell. Like, yeah, you try, but in your head, just to get you out of that. You know what? I remember when I first did like public speaking. It was like in front of like there was like 18 high schools on some conference, and they put me up on the stage, and I was like, well, nobody knows me, so they don't know that like I haven't done this before.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go up there, and then I blacked out, and and then you just come back like you remember what's that movie where Will Ferrell he's like, what's that movie? I think it's Old School maybe.
Old School. Yeah.
And he blacks out and like, and he comes back and he just like kills it like. That's what I feel like when I was up there, but it's
It really is like that. It really is. After every show, I'm just like, how did it go? How is it? I don't even hear the laughs. It's so crazy. Sometimes I'm like, how did I do? You go out there and then do it, and yeah, it's awesome.
But yeah, so like that to somebody who and even if it's not doing stand up in general, just stepping out of their comfort zone, just like trying something different, because I feel like especially like from where we're from, you don't hear a lot of people you don't hear of anybody doing stand up. So that's so different to step out and try it. But like what would you say to somebody who just wants to do something different, like something that they, like they just want to try something, like what would you say to that?
I guess it's like Nike. Like just do it. I feel like we overthink things. There's a lot of things I still want to do, and it's just there. It's written down on the stupid bucket list that it's on a piece of paper. I'm not putting it into action. So the best advice is just to do it. Take one little step, and then the next day do something else towards that goal or towards that step. And it really does. I told myself, like, at least write something down once a day. It didn't even have to be, you know what I mean? Like, once a day. And once you pick up that habit and you keep doing it, it comes like second nature. You know, you don't even think about it. It's like it's a muscle memory. Go try something. Go do it. If you're thinking about it, I mean, that means that it's somewhere in your mind and your heart that you want to at least try it. If it doesn't work out, you know, then that'll always be there. Like, man, I wonder what if. I feel like just do it. That's the best advice to give. Is just do, even if it's just one little thing.
Yeah.
Towards your goal. Yeah.
And you know, it's like, it's one of those things that it's like, I try to avoid saying that, like, just do it, but it's such a simple, like you hit it with that one, like, it's so straight to the point, like, it boils down to it, like, before you let your mind get it, you know, just go for it. Who was it? Shia LaBeouf. Did you ever see those videos?
But I like him. Yes.
Yeah.
I can never say his last name.
Whatever. But he had those videos like, just do it. Just do it. Have you ever seen those?
No.
What? You just made me, like, I just did that up. No, but yeah, he has these videos. Anyway, he was just like screaming and it was to like art students that were graduating. He just like, just do it. And it's just like, I don't know. At this point, I have to just send you the video. But yeah. So anyway, on that note, I'm so glad that you're back. That y'all are back, being able to perform in front of people, like regardless of the pandemic and everything else. I'm so excited for what you have coming up. I'm about to share this here soon, but yeah, I just want to say thank you for this conversation, for your time, for your insights, and
thank you for inviting me. Thanks for reaching out and calling me.
Yeah.
I'm so nervous because I'm like, what are we gonna talk about? You know? But you know what I think would be really cool is if we work together one day. Like, you know, I know, like, the way I'm working with local businesses and right now that they're doing like this whole theme of we're open, you know, come in. I feel like having murals on businesses also attracts, and like, so we could do like this whole thing where we could go on tour and we're going to be doing murals and ribbon cuttings and open mic nights to help local businesses